Hi, I'm Nikki and you're listening to Spark Sounds, audio shorts from the Spark movement, exploring big topics from new perspectives. Why is it that, despite our best efforts, the problems of the world seem to grow rather than diminish, with every challenge solved, another one rapidly rising to take its place? The truth is, the world is addicted to problems. Clearly, there's enough of them to go around. Everywhere you look, there seems to be yet another problem waiting to be solved. Our social media feeds and newsreels are full of them. The 24-hour news cycle beams the full force of the world's problems right into our living rooms, giving us minute-by-minute updates on what to worry about next. Yet, problem solving seems to be in short supply. The latest cure for a deadly disease or gifting of humanitarian aid is overshadowed by whatever disease or disaster is coming next. Besides, good news doesn't sell, right? You'd be forgiven for believing it doesn't even exist anymore. I've built my career around trying to solve problems on behalf of those who haven't asked for my help. More than a job, it became part of my identity to do good in the world, even at the expense of my own health and well-being. So addicted are we to problems that it's deemed normal to focus our lives on them completely, almost to the exclusion of positivity. We complain about them in conversation, share them in our feeds, march against them, make enemies of them, worry about them privately, go to war with them publicly. Our focus on problems is massively disproportionate to our focus on solutions and what's going well. Have you heard about is rarely followed by sensational good news. So why are we also addicted to the negative, and why, in the face of this obvious obsession, aren't we solving all of the problems we so relish focusing upon? Well, what if we've been approaching problem solving in the wrong ways? The never-ending cycle of problems and hard-won solutions is exhausting and ineffective. What if it's time to approach the problems of the world from a new perspective, bringing consciousness to the process of change-making? The world around us is a reflection of our inner state, and as a collective, humanity has become disconnected from our true purpose and power. At the Spark, we believe that we need a whole lot of changemakers ready to step up and create the change we really need in the world, but from a totally new perspective. This starts from the inside out, shifting our focus from being on problem to on purpose. At the Spark, we're focusing on conscious change-making. What does this mean? Well, conscious change-making presents a framework for creating a thriving planet that balances the desires of the individual with the needs of the collective. By shining the light of awareness onto the problems we face, we can consciously design outcomes that are aligned with heart instead of led by ego. The scale of challenge facing us all calls for new ways of thinking, doing, and being. The old models of helping are simply not fit for purpose anymore. It's time to shift from creating by default to designing with deliberate intent, and that starts with us. Conscious change-making acknowledges that real change starts within before any change can start without. In fact, there is no other way to change anything than to shift from the inside out. Viewing the problems of the world as being separate and external to us is a fallacy, and trying to change the world without changing ourselves is a fruitless exercise. We've been led to believe that everything of importance is found outside of ourselves and is gained through the blood, sweat and tears of hard work and effort. These collective beliefs are hardwired and difficult to overcome, so ubiquitous they are within our cultures and daily lives, even as they slowly drive us all to ill health, depression and exhaustion. But while suffering still seems to be a logical pathway to change, all over the world people are starting to acknowledge that hard work is yielding anything but the results we so desire, instead leading to burnout and exhaustion, anxiety and overwhelm, and perhaps worst of all, yet more problems rather than sustained solutions. Instead, conscious change-making means bringing our conscious awareness to the act of creating change, starting from a higher perspective, fueled by a connection to our spark, so that our actions are aligned with a higher state of awareness, one that sees people and planet as inextricably linked. Conscious change-making brings the whole process to life by shifting from egocentric doing to people as beneficiaries to heart-centered being with communities, recognising that drivers such as money, politics, external image, and even sympathy are poor motivators for long-lasting change. In fact, many efforts, although well-intended, are little more than sticking plaster solutions. Being a changemaker in this world means being willing to go against the status quo and act differently from the rest, but it also means being willing to think differently and feel differently. In our work with changemakers, we first create a space, an environment that lets people connect with a deeper and greater feeling within themselves, which is their spark. When a person connects with their spark, they connect with their potential and the person they've come here to be. This is often a far cry from the usual self, which is held back with old beliefs, conditioning and fears. Creating the right environment for changemaking to occur internally means that we create a sort of energetic window that allows us to enact our spark. We take action out in the world then from a new place within us, a new frequency of energy which contains our highest potential. The end results are of a far greater quality than the actions we take from our ego, our fears, and our small self. If you want to create change in the world, why not start by finding some time to connect to that spark within you and listening to what it wants to create within you and outside of you? If you want to know more about our work with changemakers, why not subscribe to our newsletter and join us for one of our in-person or online events for changemakers. Our next face-to-face event is happening on Thursday the 21st of March in Cardiff, South Wales, or join us online soon. Thanks for listening. You'll find more at thesparkmovement.com.